It's a quick turnaround tonight for the Sacramento Kings coming off of a win last night in Chicago. They are in Brooklyn to take on the Brooklyn Nets. 39-30 are the Nets. We will break it all down for you. I'm Ryan in Sactown. This is the pregame show on If You Don't Like That. All right. Seems like we were just here, right? We were just here less than 24 hours ago, or just about 24 hours ago. Since then, your Kings have guaranteed that they will go 500 for the season. And I'm pretty sure they're going to be above 500 for the season. But that's pretty exciting times here in Sacramento. And it's good for the league in general. You know, Jim Rome always says a good Sacramento Kings team is good for the NBA in whole. And I agree with that. Well, tonight they are in Brooklyn. You remember the last time they played Brooklyn? That was a heck of a game for your Kings. They shot the heck out of the basketball and on national TV too. And probably one of the most memorable games of the season up until the Clippers game, obviously. What is up, Will? Thank you so much. Yeah, if you are new to the show, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button on Grant's channel. We are so grateful for everybody that comes around, checks out the shows. Really, really, really appreciate it. I know I say that so much, but we really appreciate it. So yeah, the Kings, and this is a much different Brooklyn team than we've seen in the past, especially the team we saw earlier this season. No Kevin Durant. Tonight for Brooklyn, no Ben Simmons. They got rid of Kyrie Irving, who is now in Dallas. And yes, Haunted Horse. By the way, Haunted Horse? Haunted Horse. What kind of username is that? What? Haunted Horse? Come on, man. Yes, Brooklyn does have a basketball team. They do indeed. They play at the beautiful Barclays Center. Before that, they played in Trenton, New Jersey. Not Trenton. New Jersey. But yes, they do indeed. And they are 9 games over 500. So they're looking to make the playoffs as well this year. But getting back to what I was saying, they are much different than they were earlier in the season. Ben Simmons, he will not play tonight. He has not been playing. Kings fans, do you remember the talk about Ben Simmons coming to Sacramento? Like, can you imagine this team if the Kings would have packaged De'Aaron Fox or any of the core players, or what are now our core players, for Ben Simmons? I could tell you the Kings aren't going to be where they're at right now. That is for sure. Albert, how you doing tonight? Thank you so much for joining the stream, man. There is a lot to watch right now. How's everybody's brackets doing? This is one of the funnest times of the year, waking up, knowing you're going to have basketball from the time that your eyes open to the time that your eyes close. Hopefully everybody's brackets are somewhat intact and not completely busted at this point. Couple big upsets. If you didn't know, here in Sacramento, Princeton knocked off Arizona, 15 seed, knocking off a 2 seed. And much love for Princeton. That's Princeton offense. Coach Kirill is the team would call him, and Grant calls him Coachy. You don't think Coachy was in the building for that one? I guarantee he was with his Princeton team, and they got a huge win here in Sacramento. So go figure. So anyways, getting back to the Kings. Yes, Domas is an awesome center. He's an awesome basketball player in general. Triple-double every night. Like, is anybody surprised when they hear triple-double? I'm not anymore. It's incredible. Incredible. Let's see, Cody. Yeah, we're gonna get to breaking down Brooklyn here in a second. Brooklyn, very much in the Eastern Conference. Like they pay me to do this for a living. Come on, Ryan. Conference playoff picture. Yes, they are. I think Brooklyn actually benefited from that trade. They've got a ton of draft picks coming their way, and they've got a good athletic team. Um, and they can shoot the ball. Their offensive rating is not a very good representative stat for the way they can fill it up. They are fourth in field goal percentage and also fourth in 3-point percentage, but 15th in overall offensive rating. It's because of the other statistics, defense, or not defense, rebounding, assists, etc., turnovers. They are not very good with the basketball. They turn it over a ton. But, like I said, they can fill it up. You got Dorian Finney-Smith, power forward for them. You've got Cam Johnson, who came over from Phoenix. You got Mikal Bridges, hell of a player. Mikal Bridges, lengthy guard. Look for Kessler to get some minutes on him tonight. You got Nick Claxton in the middle, and Spencer Dinwiddie, heck of a point guard. Dinwiddie was actually doing great in Dallas before Dallas made the trade for Irvin. So Brooklyn's got some nice pieces. They are starter heavy in terms of their minutes. They play about an 8-man rotation. But their bench, the guys they do play very strong. I know you'll recognize one of these names, Seth Curry, not Steph, Seth. He comes off the bench for them. Joe Harris, good hand off the bench. And then O'Neal as well. So, this is a game. Brooklyn is going to be rested. Kings coming off somewhat of an emotional game last night. It was a game that they were kind of just stuck in the mud all night, right? And what was nice to see was them overcome and win. And obviously, it came down to a huge shot at the end. But the Kings, I guess you could almost call them the cardiac Kings now at this point, because they always make it interesting and exciting. But they've got to get out tonight and they've got to run. So Brooklyn, last time they played, they lost to Oklahoma City. And they've had this would be their second day off. So they've had a day off. They played on the 14th. So I would look for them to come out and be ready to go. Kings, they lose an hour. I know it's only a couple-hour flight. Captain Napier, that knows the jet stream and every flight out there in flight time, very familiar with that. But, the Kings are probably going to be a little tired in this one, especially coming last night, where a lot of guys played a little bit of extra minutes because Trey was out. Trey is back tonight. The only guy out for us is Rashawn Holmes. So we'll get Trey back in there. That'll be nice. And really, the rotation should be back intact. Monk is, coming back a little bit, 19 points last night. And Kessler Edwards, he returns to Brooklyn. He was a Brooklyn net. So give me your thoughts on the game. Sorry, I've not been checking comments. Let's get to them right now. I wonder if Kessler Edwards will have a good offensive showing in his return to Brooklyn. Right on time there. I don't know. Kessler's one of those guys. He's not going to create his own offense. It's going to be off the screens, much like a Kevin Huerter. But actually, that's a bad example. Kevin can create a little bit more. He's more of like a Keegan, off the screens, post up around the 3-point line. But I think Kessler's one of those guys that if he sees the ball go through the net, then his confidence will go with it. And you never know. I mean, getting traded, that could motivate him to come out. So we'll see what happens. I guess we're getting some questions about why they would trade Kessler. He just didn't fit. I mean, I shouldn't say he didn't fit. He was just stuck behind guys, and he wasn't going to get minutes. So they wanted to get the contract off the books is really what it was. And the Kings had that exception, or the trade exception from the Domas trade that was expiring. So the Kings, or Monty, made the move, and obviously We all know what happened next. And the Kings actually got some money back for Kessler as well. So it was basically it was a free tryout for the Kings. And so far, it is working pretty good. The Kings, speaking of the game tonight, they are actually the underdogs. Can you believe that? They are the underdogs. Brooklyn is favored by 3.5. ESPN matchup predictor has the Nets with about a 62% chance to win last time I checked it. That's likely just because the Kings coming off the back-to-back. But other than that, I think this is a good game for the Kings because the Knicks are going to want to get out, run a little bit. But like I said, the Kings have to enforce their style of play on Brooklyn because last night in Chicago, the problem to me was, the Bulls, they took up the shot clock darn near every time that they got down the court on offense, and they made the Kings work on defense, but they slowed the game down, and the Kings just it was funky. You could tell the Kings were uncomfortable. And the Kings second half broke out a little bit more, got out running a little bit more, and obviously came out with the win. But the Kings usually are averaging anywhere between 85 and 100 shots a night. They only had 77 last night. So, they can't let that happen again. And I'm not saying go down, huck it up early in the shot clock and take bad shots. I'm saying just do what they normally do with the flow of their offense. Mike Brown's pretty loose with those guys about what shots they take and when they take them in the shot clock. It's really most important who's taking them. I will tell you right now, I am not a big fan of some of the guys off the bench that come in and just huck it up. Monk, he has an exception, but Monk, he needs to be more careful with that basketball. He needs to value it more. Too many times he's getting caught in the air driving to the hoop and he has nowhere to go with it. So I want to see him kind of be a little bit more careful and not turn it over as much. But, on the flip side of that, he's got a great two-man game with Domas. Shoot, everybody on the floor has a pretty good two-man game with Domas. So, there are some positives to that as well. But yeah, so the Kings tonight getting ready to tip off here in about 15 minutes with Brooklyn. It's funny that the NBA actually has a decent slate of games tonight with March Madness going on. So I'm sure everybody's going to be flipping back and forth between the Kings and what's going on with their brackets. So anyways, if you want to go check out the NCAA tournament and looking for a nice place to have an appetizer or meal, go check out Bennett's. They've got 3 locations, one in Sacramento, one in Roseville, and a third that's getting ready to come to Rockland in the Blue Oaks Town Center. They've got a great happy hour, really, really good wine selection. And if you want to have a full meal, my goodness, they've got an awesome selection of steaks, seafood, burgers, pretty much anything you can think of. It is on the menu. And they've also got some great specials. They've got the weekend brunch. They also have prime rib on Sundays. And I believe on Mondays, they have a special dinner for 2. So you really get a lot of bang for your buck and big portions as well. So bring your appetite. Definitely one of our favorite places to dine here in this household. So go check out Bennett's, Roseville, Sacramento, and Rockland. All right. So we are getting closer and closer to tip off. Sorry, I am not involving everybody as much as I should. Let me get again to your comments because you guys are what makes the show so good. So get those in there and let me know what discussion you guys are having right now because you guys seem to be into it pretty well. Let's see. Oh, somebody saying Sacramento is a great city. Yeah, Sacramento is a great city. Hosting first couple rounds of the NCAA tournament right now, which was cool. Paulo, what's up, my man? Hope to set the tone from the first possession tonight. Yeah, Kings slow start last night and see what happened. We sound like, or I sound like, a broken record, but we talk about that on almost every single pregame show that the Kings have to come out to a good start, and especially against good teams. Chicago, middle of the road team. Brooklyn, their numbers wouldn't say they're a great team, but they're pretty darn good. They're 9 games over 500. They will be in the playoffs in the Eastern Conference, and like I said, they can shoot the ball. They've got some good young talent, and Mikal Bridges, he's a stud. He is a stud, and they're a little bit lengthy on the perimeter too. So the same thing we said last night about DeMar DeRozan goes true, and Zach LaVine goes true for tonight. The Kings got to be really, really careful with those straight line drives and really protect the middle, because those guys, like I said, are lengthy. They can shoot the three, they can step back, they can take it to the hoop. So the Kings have got to be on their toes. The other thing that I want to see tonight, we didn't see it much last night, and I know we touched on it briefly, is I want to see the Kings play more downhill. Last night, they kind of felt like they were on their heels like pretty much all night until that fourth quarter. I want to end that run in the third quarter. I want to see them be the aggressors. I want to see them taking it to the nets and controlling what's going on, whether it's a made basket or not. That doesn't mean that you can't still run. So it'd be interesting too to see if the Kings drop into zone a little bit tonight. I know I bring that up a lot, but Brooklyn, because they do love that three ball, see what they do. Make them beat you from beyond the arc. Kings are not very good on back-to-backs. Yes, that is true, Garrison, but the Kings are a good road team. They are a very good road team. The Kings' record on back-to-backs actually isn't as bad as you think it is. The Kings are worse sometimes on multiple days rest. If they have 3 or more days of rest, not a good record. So, tonight we'll see De'Aaron. All indications he's fine. I don't know. Did you guys tell me in the chat? Did you guys see De'Aaron kind of playing with that left hand a little bit last night? So I saw that a few times, specifically earlier in the game. But then, he kind of tweaked the ankle. We don't know about the hamstring. Obviously, all things he's playing through right now, but something to certainly pay attention to. Because as the Kings are going to go as De'Aaron goes, I mean, that the broadcast right now has King of the Fourth up as the graphic for De'Aaron. I would just call it the Fox quarter. He just finds a way to take over, and the fact that Chicago didn't run 2 guys at him last night makes no sense at all. So, all right, Huggies. Why is your handle Huggies? Huggies? Do you buy a lot of Huggies? Interesting handle. Let's see. The Kings played their best game of the season on the second of a back-to-back LAC. Yeah, very true. Very true. And they went to double overtime that night, and they did not look winded. So that's one thing you cannot question about this team is their conditioning. Their conditioning has been excellent, and that starts with Domas. We talked about that last night. We got Sabonis predictions. Let's see. Sabonis will have 12 rebounds and 7 blocked shots in this game. Has Sabonis had 7 blocked shots all season? 7 blocked shots. I don't know. The Nets are technically the best team at blocking shots in the NBA. I don't see 7 blocked shots, man. We'll see, though. You could be right, Willie. You could be right, my man. Fox is definitely starting. Amazing how good he's playing through it. Yeah. He took so much heat for that stretch he had early in the season when he didn't announce that he was banged up and dealing with a foot issue. But he pushed through it and he played, but he didn't play well, right? So I think that's caused him to be a little bit more, and the team a little bit more transparent about what's going on with him. Not that it matters one way or the other, but De'Aaron, when you have somebody like Sabonis on your team, not just what he does production-wise, but when you have a guy that, for all intents and purposes, should be sitting out for 6 weeks, should possibly be having surgery, and he only misses 1 game, and he plays completely through that injury and plays at an extremely high level. I mean, to the point where he likely will get some MVP votes this year. That sets a tone for this team. That sets a standard for this team about toughness. People don't talk about this. Keegan has been playing through a very similar injury on his thumb. It happened before Sabonis's. He played through that as well. So, when you've got teammates pushing through injuries and playing through them that are much more significant than a tweaked ankle, a sore hand, a hamstring, you want to be a little bit careful about, because that can be nagging and that could be trouble, especially for a player like Fox, where the thing that separates him is the way he changes speed and how fast he is on that court. So, yeah, that would be the only thing, but it definitely does kind of it sets a culture for those guys, and so I am very, very proud of that. Let's see. I do buy a lot of Huggies. Oh, okay, your last name's Huggies. All right, I see you. Thank you very much for your service, Huggies. Thank you very much for your service, my man. All right, is Trey Lance? Trey Lance? Yes, Trey is playing. You mean Trey Lyles? Trey Lyles. All good, Willie. Yeah, Trey is playing tonight. Trey Lance. I don't even think he could get on the floor for the Kings. That guy's really injury ridden. But I see where you made the little mistake there. He is a Niner, so I'll give you the benefit of the doubt for that one. So, give me your guys' final scores. What do you guys think about tonight? You think it's going to be I don't, I'll say this. I do not think this is going to be as high scoring as the last game with Brooklyn. So, the Kings tonight, normal starting five. They're showing those right now. I assume Brooklyn, I'm sure they'll put that up here in a second, that Brooklyn will be going with their normal starting five: Dorian Finney-Smith, Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, Nick Claxton, and Spencer Dinwiddie. Claxton, I think Sabonis could take advantage of Claxton tonight on the inside. So that would be a matchup I would go straight to on this one. All right, we're starting to get some scores in. Kings 119, Brooklyn 104. Got Kings 108, Nets 91. Wow, you think they're going to shoot that bad, huh? Got Kings 112, 105, 123, 119. We got 128, 108, 120, or 136, 125. Kings 116, Nets 113. We got 121, 113. Lights, I assume that is probably in the Kings' favor, would be my guess. So yeah, we are getting closer and closer to tip off. This is a great point. East Coast teams love playing opposite sides. I don't know what you mean by opposite sides. Are you talking about playing against the Western Conference? But if you're talking about East Coast teams in the Eastern Conference, that is a much different conference than the West. They have not had the same level of injuries that the West has had. So Brooklyn being 9 games over 500 in that conference with everything that's happened this season. I mean, think about that. You deal with all the Durant stuff, the Irvin stuff, the Ben Simmons stuff, the trade for Durant, or trading Durant out. Yes, Chris, I know. Yes, the kid is in the background. I apologize for that. He is a Kings fan. He's excited about the game. He's my spotter. So there you go, Chris. They play in a Eastern Conference that's very, very good. So this is, like I said, a good team, and it'll be a good test for the Kings coming off that back-to-back. Oh, I'm not sorry about the kiddo being in the background. Yeah, he's great. He is awesome. He actually came out to the event that we did, or Grant and I did, where raised $16,000 and got our heads shaved at Bennett's. So everybody else that came out there, that is awesome. These back-to-backs suck, especially being far east. Yes, they do. They stink for tip-off time, that's for sure, and they stink when they're back-to-back. They're at this point in the season, they're used to it, the Kings, with the travel. If this would be early in the season, I'd be a little bit more worried about it. And I know it sounds counterintuitive because you'd think the players are tired because we're further into the season, but travel gets a little bit easier, I think, as the season goes along. You get a little bit more into that groove and into that routine. So don't forget, I will be joining Grant at halftime on his halftime show and joining him on the post-game show as well. Napes will be in the house. If you guys heard the rant last night, that was legendary. 100% Napier. I couldn't keep it together. 100% Napier for the t-shirts. I love that. And we got a great idea about the beam. So we're bringing up Romy again. Dude, you're getting a lot of run today. You're getting a lot of run, Haunted Horse. Maybe Grant and Jim Rome are hanging out watching March Madness. Yeah, maybe. Romy disappeared for a couple days. So, yeah, they're probably watching the games, maybe over Zoom because they're on separate coasts as well. Let's see. Do you think we will see more Alex Len? No, I do not. Alex was only in there last night because of a matchup issue. Andre Drummond you can't put Metu on Drummond. And somebody said that last night in the post game that the Kings rotation was all screwed up and Alex was in it because Trey was out. I don't think that was the case. Alex was in because Drummond was in. And Drummond, he's a big dude. He's put on a few since his earlier days in the league, and Alex is a big body, and so I think that's why Alex got the minutes. But that's a tough thing to ask Alex to come in and play when he really hasn't played at all. I can't remember the last time Alex touched the court. So yeah, that's why he played last night. I don't expect him to play again tonight unless Sabonis gets in foul trouble, Sabonis gets hurt, Metu gets hurt, something like that. Knock on wood for both of them. I guess that would be 2 knocks. But yeah, I don't see that happening at all. Rich, I don't know if you're watching. Rich in San Diego. Shout out to the Aztecs, buddy. Bella Danzy, you're watching. Shout out to a fellow Aztec. Aztecs won today. Sorry, I am an Aztec, so I'm gonna be a homer here for a few minutes. Let's see. No, he was not. No. John. That's not why he played. Been a little tiny bit of why he played, but we've seen games where other guys in Trey's position are out, and Alex doesn't get the minutes. Alex got the minutes strictly because of Drummond. If you would have put Metu on Drummond, that would have been a nightmare. And in that game last night, you could not have Metu get into foul trouble, and he is very prone to foul trouble lately. So no, I don't think that is why he got the minutes last night. But enough about Alex Len. All right. So we are almost there, getting ready for tip off. Love you, by the way, John. Not trying to get on you, buddy. And hey, John, I smoked a corned beef today. Let me know what you're doing on the grill. Everybody, if you don't know, John is a grill master. So, all right, yeah, let's get this win. Let's do it. Let's do it, Peter. Let's light the damn beam. 42 wins. Think about that. 42 wins, winning more than the Kings lose. That is no. There is only one person that had the Kings winning 40 games this year. And that was that dude at Summer League after they won the Summer League championship. And he's like, oh, 40 wins, Kings, 40 wins. Everybody thought he had a few too many. He's right. So I pushed Grant a little bit on the Listen app show. I pushed him, and I thought 40 was obtainable even after the 0-4, and he called me crazy. He asked for a drug test. But we're here. We are here, and them getting to 42, um, yeah, that's going to be awesome. And I think they're going to flirt with 50. They'll ultimately, my opinion, they end up at 49. Yeah, yeah. I can't wait. That's gonna be in between this show and the halftime show. We're actually making homemade Reuben sandwiches, so everything from scratch. So looking forward to that. Let's see. Grant said 37 wins and 41 at the very peak. Maybe I said 45. Actually, is that what set him off a little bit? I don't remember. I think Grant said 37 max. I'm gonna go back and listen to that. I'll fact check that. Um, but I don't remember him saying 41 max at the start. Could be wrong. Could be wrong. What's up? I'm just gonna put that up. So that's my man Tim. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. I guess we're debating if Alex Lynn is 50 Cent's favorite player. Let me tell you who 50 Cent's favorite player is. It's whatever player is sitting across the way from him when he is sitting courtside with some owner in the NBA. He doesn't even know the players' names. He said Alex Lynn by accident. He meant Keegan Murray. That was the night Keegan had a big game. 50 Cent's a homer, man. That guy needs to go away. So Jordy, we're getting proud of setting off Grant. I set off Grant a few times with my calls back in the day. Yeah. Sometimes you could get the boss a little bit riled up for sure. Never personal, but you know what cracked me up back in the day, and even now on Listen App, is people that get him fired up and then back off their point. Yeah, I agree, Grant. Okay, Grant. No, go at him. Go at him. Have a great spirited sports debate. Defend your point. Do it a fun way. But yeah, Grant used to, he would go off a little bit. If anybody remembers who it was that did the Christmas one that got him to go off on Christmas, put that in the chat because that was legendary. That was definitely legendary. Oh yeah, and again, this guy, dude, this guy is getting so much run tonight. I don't Haunted Horse. I still want an explanation on that name. Yeah, t-shirts will set him off as well. Go check out yesterday's show. That was great. 100% Grant Napier. Anyways, all right, guys, we are there. The Kings are getting ready to tip off right now. Thank you so much again for joining me on the post game. My goodness, I got corned beef on my mind. Thanks for joining me on the pregame show. We will be back, or I will be back at halftime with Grant on his halftime show, and back on the post game with him on his post game show. Be sure to tune in. Go Kings. Let's light the beam. Let's get 42 tonight. We will see you at halftime. So long.